Coming to you live Sunday night, 7 o'clock. There's no hope in the world. There's no hope in the world anymore. The Chiefs beat the Bills. Patrick Mahomes beats Josh Allen again, 32-29. It came down to it. You honestly thought at some point in the third quarter that the Bills were taking control of the game.
Never.
But then, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it for the past 5 years. The Chiefs find a way to get it done on offense and defense. We got our buddy Maxie, who is the resident Buffalo Bills fan in the Bay Area. Max, I mean, I know exactly where you're at because I'm a 49ers fan, and we've been through so much heartbreak, but a loss like this seemed like your best shot at it, and you guys didn't get it done again. It's almost deja vu. So, how you feeling, brother?
You almost are numb to it at this point. It's they find new ways to do it each and every time, and I mean, I wish it almost feels like I should be hurting more, but I'm not because you go into expecting it. 0-4 in the playoffs against this fucking team. It's never going to get easier. But it feels like at this point, the only path to get there is just to not see them. Like, give me the Ravens. In the AFC Championship. Like, you're almost like it's tough. But
you think the Dolphins are going to knock them off?
It'd be cool. I mean, someone else.
Shut the fuck up, Sage. Shut the fuck up.
No one's gonna. I mean,
I can't fucking stand you right now. I can't stand you right now, man.
I've been saying it all year. Chase.
Yeah, go ahead. You deserve it, Sage. I'll give you your flowers right now. You've been saying it all year.
How about those Chiefs?
You said it. You said I kind of always question the Chiefs' offense. You said if they need to get it done, they'll get it done. Mahomes will. It done. If they need to score 30, they'll score 30. You were right, Sage. You were right. Fucking take your walk right now, man. Take your walk.
I was going to say, it's kind of ironic where Chase has said this team can't score 30. I said if they need 30, they'll score 30. Bills land right on 29. What do the Chiefs do? They go get 30. I mean, it's just one of those things where I was saying you got to appreciate these dynasties, these great players. They're once in a lifetime, right? You're Abdul-Jabbars, you're LeBron James, you're Tom Brady's. These type of guys where you can't bet against.
Oh, you're missing one guy. You're missing one guy, Sage. I wonder who that is. You fucking guy. God, I can't do this right now. I can't do this right now.
Scottie Pippen, the greats, when they're in their craft in the midst of a three-peat, you got to just respect it and you got to ride the wave, man. I mean, I never thought the Chiefs were going to lose. I knew they were going to get it done somehow, some way. I'm shocked. I thought the Bills were at least going to get a field goal on that last drive. It seemed like the play calling all game. Josh's decision-making all game was questionable, but it seems like we're right back at it. I mean, Chiefs beat the Bills. Max, at what point, how many times do they have to beat you in the playoffs for it to get worse than the 4 Super Bowl losses in a row? Because I feel like it's getting there just because of how much hatred there is that like concentrated on one team and one guy. It's not like it's spread across different teams. It's like we just
I don't know, man. They can 4 straight Super Bowls and fucking lose, and I don't think you could beat that kind of hurt. I mean, they made a documentary about how bad they lost those 4 Super Bowls in a row. So
yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
never
we
bet
weren't
against
alive for it, so who really knows? Like, unless you were able to experience it and really feel the hurt from it, like you're never gonna have that full perspective. We're in the prime of our like sport watching era, and especially for me, like this is absolutely hands down my favorite athlete I've ever gotten to watch. And just to know that every time you go up against this guy, you're gonna go on the wrong side of it. It just isn't going to get better. Like it is as hopeless as it gets. Like, and I don't know if I have to do like the big caveat where like I'm from the Bay Area, but I'm a Bills fan. I don't know
get it out there now.
Get it out right now. Get it right now.
Yeah, like I mean,
the Bills fans are going to gravitate to you. We want them to know right away.
Yeah, like everything's on the table right now. But yeah, it's you root for your guy. You want to see your guy reach the pinnacle, and when there's one boogeyman that you just can't get past it. I mean, I hit the point during the game. You appreciate it. You're watching 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league go at it and battle it out. And it's a 1-possession game. But you just see it's all those mistakes that the Bills made, whether it's play calling, whether it's Josh kind of reverting back to the ticking time bomb of he's always susceptible to a crazy bonehead move. The Chiefs just don't do that. Spagnuolo steps up and calls the perfect play call, that corner blitz with McDuffie at that time, like just like stopping the 4th and 1, like no one stopped all year except for this guy. So it's all those little things that go into it. It's just it's hard, but you tip your cap and respect greatness.
So let's be honest. Let's just address this now because we all know what the fuck is going to be said on First Take 7 o'clock Western time tomorrow. They're going to be blaming Josh. They're going to say Josh can't get it done against Mahomes. This is the 4th time. And you're going to have some people saying that Josh can't get it done. Let's be frank, man. Every time that Josh Allen goes up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, he's going up against pocket aces, and you're trying to make him win the hand. Sean McDermott, some of the decisions that he made, I mean, especially Joe Brady with the play calls on that last drive, 1st and 10, 2 minutes, 25 seconds left. Why the fuck is that not a run? Why is that not a run where you burn the clock all the way down to the 2-minute warning, you get a couple yards, take some time to really think about what you're going to do with the rest of the drive, how you're going to play the rest of this game out, so you could win the game without giving the Chiefs a chance to come back. Instead, you pass. What was that first play? It was just a little throw over the top to Shakir that was incomplete.
Yeah, and Romo was trying to like phrase like it was like some throwaway. It's like, no, dude, like it's. I hate to say it. Sometimes it's Josh being Josh, where he thinks he could do the unthinkable and fit these passes in. It's, dude, like you've been running a perfect offense all season long, just being so conservative, using everyone, like not pushing it, and it's like. You just saw that. So like the first 6 minutes of that game, that first drive, it was every time Josh touched the ball, it's like you're watching 2nd or 3rd year Josh, where it's you're putting ball in harm's way, and yeah, you're playing with fire doing that.
First drive was alarming.
That first 6 minutes,
he was shaky. He was very
terrible.
shaky to start off this game. He was nervous. You could see it. He had
Like,
those
I didn't
2
bet the
plays
Bills.
that should have gotten intercepted. Honestly, by Cook. And then I think on the next drive, he had one where he just took the snap and fumbled it. Like I haven't seen Josh do that all year.
Bro, he did that and then
the
picked
nerves
it
were
up.
clearly getting to him. You could see it. You could even see it in his eyes compared to Mahomes.
Absolutely.
It was just
He
fucking a Terminator.
He was trying to push it downfield too much. And I mean, you were calling for it. You were saying they need to push it downfield, like expose the Chiefs' corners. I think at first they were just nervous to do it because those first 2 drives, he was just throwing it right into Chiefs defenders' hands. Like they just dropped it. They dropped 2 picks on that opening drive. Either or. I forget who's 6 on the Chiefs, whoever that was.
I think it's Cook.
It was Connors.
Yeah, dropped both of them. And it just, I think from there, like he kind of turtled. He tried doing too much. The whole mental factor of like, they couldn't get the tush push going, but they kept trying to get the tush push going. It just made no sense to me. Like every 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, they were trying to go to it. And it just felt like Joe Brady was so far out of his bag where the simple shit was working all year and they just got away from it. Like James Cook has been working for them. That first matchup.
Why is Ty Johnson in big plays? James Cook, 13 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Money out of the backfield, and you have Ty Johnson in the biggest moments of the game. Why? He was the one thing that the Bills offense minus Josh Allen had going for them the entire night. He was the one thing that was breaking down that Chiefs defense, and you don't have him in the biggest moments of the game. I just did not get that. I did not get that at all, but I'm going to lead you guys into this one because we're making it sound like the Chiefs had control the entire game, and they didn't. They didn't. It all switched with that 4th and 1 play where the first one, Josh jumps over, fumbles, somehow gets it back. I mean, I don't know how he got it back.
Did someone else get it back or did he get it?
I think
Who
he
knows?
got it
Who
back.
knows what the hell goes on under that pile?
It was an act of God that the Buffalo Bills did not fumble and lose that ball. Then you get another 4th and 1, and I guess we all know what happened. The Chiefs stopped them, but what do you guys think about the fact that they obviously reviewed it and they came back and said that there was not enough evidence to overturn? What do you guys see from that review?
I don't think he got it. Like it was too close to overturn because he was like this and he wasn't pushing the ball out. I mean, I'm going to come off as biased, but truthfully, I just don't think he got it. At first they gave it to him. They spotted it back. But what happened to like the chip in the ball where they're able to like detect this shit? They had this early in the year. I mean, I guess it wasn't there, but it didn't seem like to me he got it.
It's one of those coin flip plays where you just expect the Chiefs to come out on the other side of it also. It's that 50-50, but you don't want that to go in the hands of 2 down judges when they're both coming. Like that was the thing. One down judge had it. He had the spot going past the first. The other one didn't. So
by like a yard almost.
Yeah. So, I mean,
how the fuck does that happen? How do you have one guy coming in, it's a yard behind, another guy coming in, it's like a half yard?
Well, to be fair, he does it to the left every time, and the other guy was coming from the top. So
and why are we taking the angle of the guy who doesn't have the fucking? He didn't have the angle of the ball. The other guy had the angle of the ball, and we take the backside judge.
They reviewed. I mean, they did. I mean, it's one of those ones that like it's easy to point at that and be like, that's where the momentum was. It's just that play was stopped so many times, and you had so many other like. That's the thing with Josh. You don't have to spam the same play over and over again. Use Cook. use the option play where Josh takes a step back like he's going to pass, and then he runs. Like, that was working also. That's how they got to like the 5-yard line. Like, there was so many things they could have done in that spot. And running the same play that Spags clearly had bottled up. I mean, yeah, it's so
It just seems stupid because they had 3 guys right in the middle of the line of scrimmage. And every single time they snapped it, I mean, I don't know, Josh was kind of going back and trying to go like to the left of the guard. I don't get why he was doing that. Apparently he's been doing that all year, but I feel like when you have like 8 guys coming right at you off the jump, not a good thing to take a step back. Also, why don't they have him in some kind of shotgun formation where
that's what they've been doing all year? They've had
because
that
you have the threat of passing the ball, which they have to respect and honor, or you just have Josh with like a head of steam coming into the line of scrimmage where he has to get a half a yard. I don't, like you said, Max, I don't get why they did that. I don't get why they stuck with it the entire second half on every 4th and 1, every short yardage opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, look at how Mahomes was running those plays. Like, Mahomes picked up a couple 4th downs running it, and it was the little play action bootleg out, and he had 10 yards to run after. Like, there's other ways. And Mahomes isn't a runner, and they like open it up for him today and had him run like that.
I don't know. Mahomes is a runner. You gotta say Mahomes is a runner.
Yeah, but they made him not a runner once he got hurt. But yeah, he obviously in big moments like he's willing to pull it. You'll never call Mahomes a runner, but.
Okay, what about on
he
that
finds
James
a way,
Cook
man.
second touchdown, though, where they had the Josh roll out, and he rolled it back to James Cook, easy touchdown? Like, where was that? Where was the creativity and short yardage everywhere else in the game? Like, why do you insist on going to this? Like, I feel like it's the mental factor. It's this thing where it's like, we're going to out-will you, we're going to out-tough you. They put their head to it. They decided this is how they want to pick up short yards, and they just wouldn't back off it. I don't know the exact numbers. I'll have to look it up. Someone definitely has it on Twitter. It had to have been like 2 for 7, 2 for 8. Something like that. Like,
you're saying on 4th down?
Yeah, no, just on like 3rd and short, 4th and short, where they use the tush push. Like, it had to be something ridiculous. Like, I'm interested to see how they do it against Philly next week. Like, if they actually just have this thing sniffed out, or if it was just something that they saw with the Bills. But the Bills had to get off of it. They did it. Those blitzes at the end, they just had no answer for it. It seems like they got it once and then they couldn't come back after it. Just like sending the corner, sending the house, and Josh, of all guys, someone who's mobile, has a big arm, he couldn't even figure it out. So it's like, is anyone going to figure out this Spags blitz? Like, can someone please figure it out? Like, as someone who bets the Chiefs, I do want to see them lose. Like, it infuriates me too that no one could figure this out. Like, you just see this guy smacking his gum, sending like 3-quarter blitzes, and Romo's just going crazy. Like, oh, Jim, do you see that? How McDuffie comes off? No one's suspecting him.
They act like he's fucking Albert Einstein. He does it every time. I mean, and then they try to make other things like, look at how genius he is. He has one linebacker at the line of scrimmage, but the other guy's actually blitzing. It's like, oh, wow, I've never fucking seen that in NFL history. You got to give him credit because it works, obviously, right? But I don't know. I'm shocked that they didn't pick up on that corner blitz. I mean, the guy, I think it was Ty Johnson was streaking across. He was open. But when you have Chris Jones and the guys on that interior D-line, you're going to get pushed back. It's going to affect the pocket. And Josh just didn't stand in there and make the throw.
No, they talk about him like.
Can I say this? I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to sound like an inconsiderate piece of shit. Dalton Kincaid, you got to catch that ball. You got to catch that ball. That was in your fucking hands. That's the difference in the game. If Dalton Kincaid catches that ball that fell right into his fucking hands, they win the game. You know they go down, they score a touchdown.
Shut up.
No, I swear to God, Sage. Dude, come on, Sage, you know it too. You know it too. If they find a way to make that play happen, they find a way to get into the end zone. I think that Dalton Kincaid should get a lot of shade for that. I get that he threw it up, but
you jumping on
you
these
have to make
first
that
Mark
catch.
Andrews, now
you
it's
have to make that
Kincaid's
catch.
fault.
You are paid to make that catch. You're not only paid to make catches with a tight spiral that's thrown on a fucking dime. You have to make that catch.
Oh, Chase. So last week it was Mark Andrews' fault. This week it's Dalton Kincaid's fault. In 2 weeks it's going to be Dallas Goedert's fault. Yeah, like what's the argument here, bro? Like they couldn't pick up short yardages. Like it's not his fault.
I'm not saying that he's the reason, but you got to give him some shade. That was the biggest play of the game, and he dropped the fucking ball right in his hands.
I mean, dude,
am I crazy? Am I taking crazy pills here?
He's Dalton Kincaid, bro. He's Dalton Kincaid. It's not like
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? He's an NFL guy. You got to catch that ball, man.
I mean, like, I get where you're coming from. Like, it's catchable, but he's a tight end.
No, I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole. A ball hits his hands on the biggest play of the fucking season. And
what I don't like,
it's not partly his fault that they lost the game.
What I don't like is on the first blitz, was it 1st down and 10 or 2nd and 10? They said in the house, you run a screen pass to Amari Cooper, probably your slowest receiver.
So I think that was the 3rd down. I think that was the 3rd down play.
Was that, yeah.
I mean, picked
run
up
that
5.
to Shakir. run, like he just had to slip one tackle and he was gone. Like they sent the house, like he had 2 blockers, 2 defenders, and he couldn't get out of it. Like it's the little things. Having Ty Johnson on the field on first down, you run it to him, lose 2 yards. Where's James Cook? Like it's the personnel. It's like these decisions. It's the little things. It's the Chiefs winning in all three levels.
And that's the thing.
Defense,
I mean,
offense. They step up when they need to do it. Like it was 29-29. The Chiefs got the ball with 6 minutes. In 3 minutes, they went down, got a field goal. Bills had the ball 2.5 minutes, couldn't get a field goal. Like it's the little things. It's situational football. And the Bills, they're so good at it, except when they play this team. It's the mental factor. It's the big brother factor. It's all so real. It's just when they play this team.
Every single aspect of the Chiefs, like you said, the Chiefs defense, when they needed to make big stops, made the stop, the first 4th down stop, where it shifted the entire momentum of the game. I mean, it seemed like the Bills were driving and they were going to maybe take an 8-point or a 9-point lead if they decided to go for 2. It felt like that for me. It felt like the Bills had total control 100%. Of the game. That completely shifts. That's because of the defense. But every single 3rd down, I mean, obviously the 3rd down at the end of P. Ryan, where Mahomes flipped it out to seal the game, but every single big 3rd down, 4th down. And we've seen this throughout Mahomes' career, right? He makes those plays. He finds a way to make it happen. And at some point, you just got to admit that this is the best team that we've ever seen. Because No, they are. I got to say it now, Sage. I got to say it now.
Okay.
Because not only with Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey on offense, but this defense makes every single big play year after year, big playoff game after big playoff game. And you saw it again today. That was the difference. Josh Allen is going up against pocket aces. And if he doesn't find a way to fucking hit the river, he's losing that hand. And that just happened every single time that they make the playoffs.
I mean, who was making the big plays for the Chiefs today? It was Xavier Worthy. It was a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster making that big catch in the first half.
It's Mahomes. It's Mahomes. He finds a way to spread it out to anybody who's open.
But that's what I'm saying, right? It's like Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Juju Smith-Schuster, no one wanted. Kareem Hunt was on his couch when they signed him. Like, it's the guy running the operation. So what do? They invest in that defense. You see it every year. 7 draft picks, 5 are going to the defense. 5 are going to the defense. 6 are going to the defense. They know how to build this team. Like, everyone's been complaining, or not complaining, but just saying, like, they don't trust the Chiefs because they're not scoring 30 anymore. They're not scoring 40. They don't look explosive on offense. They have the best play caller in the league. They have the best quarterback in the league. The offense is always going to be fine. When they need it, they can get it. But the defense being this good is what makes them more dangerous than they were when they were the Ty Hill, Travis Kelce prime Chiefs, because
they're so complimentary. They're so complimentary. It's so tough to beat them.
You think about that team that Brady beat in the AFC Championship 6 years ago. They couldn't stop the Patriots whenever they needed to. Like the Patriots, when they needed to score, they went down, they got a score. That ain't happening against this defense. They make clutch plays. They have clutch drives, and they always, like you said, complement the offense. When the offense is down, they're up. When the offense is scoring, they like ease back a little. So it's tough, man. You got to beat them in all 3 facets. You got to outcoach them, and no one's going to do it. I mean, next week you got Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Or 2 weeks you got Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni.
Maxie,
you guys want to guess the line?
No, let's not do that yet. Let's not do that yet. But Max, I got to ask you straight up, because I thought that Josh Allen played a good game, but he obviously didn't make that last play. Had a couple times where he got stopped in big situations. So overall, what's your assessment of Josh? And I guess moving forward with the Bills, because I almost feel like the Bills right now are kind of in that Niners spot where you look at them, they have a great roster. Just on paper, they're set up for the future, but it's almost like how many times can you get your heart broken before it actually has a severe impact on the locker room and the entire feeling around the team? So as a Bills fan, as a part of Bills Mafia, coming out of this game, how are you feeling?
Like, weirdly better. Like, I think I feel better coming out of this loss than I did after last year's loss. Because at least after last year's loss, you made the changes. You moved off of Diggs, you moved off of Davis, you moved off of the safeties. And you kind of, I mean, it's weird how people were trying to debunk this whole, like, oh, like, nobody believed in the Bills. Because this revisionist history, no one believed in the fucking Bills at the start of this year. People were trying to make the trendy, oh, like, Jets are going to win the division. Oh, watch out for the Dolphins. People did not believe in the Bills going.
They said it was a rebuild year. They
exactly. And I mean, obviously it hurts to lose this game, but you end up right in the same spot where you're up against the Chiefs for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Like, I think it was funny. I wanted to make this point when you guys brought up Kincaid. You look at Kincaid. You look at Benford getting hurt in the first quarter, which
that was big.
Everyone knew that was going to happen. I mean, you have a guy in protocol till Saturday, and all of a sudden he's on the field.
I don't know if
DeMar,
everybody
though.
knew. I don't know if everybody knew that was going to happen.
That-
I felt like that
was pretty
but, dude,
predictable.
did he get knocked the fuck out? I mean, did you see him looking on the sideline?
Yeah,
Like, he was
like,
getting held
Rasul-
up by 3 guys.
Yeah, like Rasul was like holding him up and stuff. I was like, this is so bad. But okay, that he gets hurt, and your depth piece is Khair Elam, who was another first-round pick. The Bills are in kind of a similar spot with the Niners in this regard, where they're not good at drafting in the first round. Like, even you look at Keon, like, I mean,
he got torched all night.
they're
going
Pittsburgh
right
came
after him.
out.
Anytime he was out, like Juju was cooking him.
And they were playing man-to-man. It's like, why would you ever do that against the Chiefs when, I mean, did you see that one play where Juju cooked him on the line of scrimmage and he slipped and Juju was like 15 yards open? I don't think they even threw it to him on that play. But
yeah, I mean, you go
that shifted the game for sure.
Yeah, it's tough because it's who do you want to beat you, right? You go zone, Kelsey's going to pick apart your zone, and you're going to get torched that way. They go man to try and neutralize Kelsey, and you did for the most part, but then you're just getting beat by everyone else. And like I was telling you guys when I came on for the Niners preview, you beat the Bills with speed, and they were relying on Worthy. They were relying on Hollywood, and even Juju had a couple good bursts there. Like, that was where they kind of had the advantage. And yeah, you have Elam, who made no impact. You have Kincaid that, I mean, what has Kincaid done that's like noticeably better than what Knox has ever contributed? What did Keon do that fucking Ladd McConkey couldn't do, or any of these other receivers that were drafted after? Bills are just, you're kind of looking at the same thing with the Niners, where it's like they're making some very questionable draft picks, and it's like, okay, in these spots, you look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are nailing these picks, and the Bills aren't. So you try and look forward as like, okay, this is a retooling. Let's see what they do in the offseason. But that's where it just hurts. It's like, okay, in this spot, the Chiefs are still going to find a way to outdo them, and who knows?
I don't know, Maxie. I think that you're seeing life through rose-colored glasses. I'd be fucking furious if I was a Bills fan right now. So
Chase,
good for you. Good for you.
What he's saying is kind of similar to what you were saying earlier about Josh is going up against pocket aces. Like, you say it, you hinted to it, like Keon Coleman. They traded back to draft him. Who do they trade with? The Chiefs. Who do the Chiefs take? Xavier Worthy. Right? You just see it. Like, it's the little things.
I mean, are we acting like Xavier Worthy's the next best wide receiver in the league? I mean, he was the difference maker.
He was the difference maker. You flip teams.
Don't you feel like it's just kind of plug and replace? Anybody you throw in there with Mahomes is going to be like Juju Smith had a fucking great Super Bowl 2 years ago. We're not saying that Juju Smith-Schuster is a stud. This is Mahomes, and just plug and place. Whoever's in there is going to get numbers, and they're going to make an impact in big games because Mahomes is throwing the ball to him.
Chase, but it's not like Josh Allen's a bum here. What did Keon Coleman? 12 yards. Xavier Worthy, 101 yards. Like, there's a difference. Like, you called Josh Allen the best quarterback in the league last year. He's not a bum. Like, he should be able to make these guys better, or are they just not as good as the guys the Chiefs have? Like, look in the mirror at who he was throwing the ball to at the end of the day.
I mean, are we judging Josh Allen just based on his wide receiver stats? Like, I thought that Josh played a good enough game. His defense couldn't get a stop. They got 2 stops right away at the start of the second half. I think that's a real villain of the Buffalo Bills. The defense played awful.
They forced a turnover. The Chiefs defense
didn't. No, they didn't. They fumbled the fucking snap.
Okay, well, that's a turnover. They got the ball.
Bro. You can't give credit to the Bills when Mahomes hands it to fucking Pacheco.
But they got them off the field. They got them off the field.
Twice the entire game.
Okay, but
is that enough? Is that enough?
That's more on Mahomes, though. That's more on Mahomes, where the Bills' defense is terrible.
Is it, though?
The Bills' defense is terrible. And he was able to score on them whenever he wants. I get what you're saying, but Josh could have scored on the Chiefs defense. Like, he wasn't making throws. He was making bad decisions in the first half. Let's not act like he played perfect. He did not play perfect. He was missing throws. I mean, it's a bad omen when you start the game with the ball and you go a quick 3 and out. The Chiefs go down and get a touchdown. It just sets you on the wrong foot, where in that first game, you dominated right off the bat. I get it. It was at home. It was in the regular season. You always beat them in the regular season. But if you're going to beat the Chiefs, you got to play perfect for almost 4 quarters. Like, that's the difference in that first quarter. Like, we talked about with Lamar, like, you could say he played a great second half, but what he did in the first half screwed him. I really think, like, it's the little things. Like, it's not making those throws. It's being off route, off time with your receivers, not getting it down. Like, you got to score. If the Chiefs are going to score all but 2 possessions, you got to score all but 1. Like, you got to be that guy. Like we said, he needs to be Superman this game, and he wasn't.
Okay, so you're not going to blame Sean McDermott's defense, who only got 2 stops the entire game. You're not going to blame Joe Brady, who went away from James Cook.
No, I'll blame Joe Brady.
And
I've been saying, I said Joe Brady.
So that's what I'm saying, Sage, because a lot of people are going to give shit to Josh, and you're going to say he didn't do enough to win the game.
Josh doesn't deserve shit.
That's what I'm saying. So why are we saying that Josh didn't do enough? Josh did do enough. He got no help from anybody else on the fucking team.
Chase, it's like those 2018, 2017 Cavs teams. Like, the only chance they had is for LeBron to absolutely be Superman and take it over. Like, But when they lose, he's still going to get some shit. Like, that's just how it works. You're the best player, and you haven't been able to beat this guy your entire career in the playoffs. It's just how it works. Like, the talking heads. You know damn well what Ryan Clark's going to say tomorrow.
But you know what would happen if Josh had that Chiefs defense on his side? If you switch defense in this game.
I 100% agree with you. But that's what I'm saying is the Chiefs are great all three levels. So you got to be perfect. Like, that's what it takes to beat them. Like, it was in your hands, man. It was in your hands. You had the ball 22-21. You could have went and got a touchdown. You had the ball down 3 with 2.5 minutes. You could have went and got a field goal or a touchdown to take the lead, and you didn't get either. Like, it's on you too. I get
okay, but you say that it's on him, but look at the big plays that the Chiefs had on offense and the play calls, the schemes that they had set up compared to what the Bills are doing.
I agree.
Right?
No, I
agree.
agree.
The Bills were doing missionary, and the Chiefs were doing some shit that you couldn't even
imagine.
They're
hitting with the drill hammer.
Yeah, it's like I've never even thought that this could be possible. It's a joke.
They got a swing
put
in there.
Like, I don't know how you can't say that Joe Brady. I know he was set up to get the Saints job. I wouldn't give this guy there's no way I would make this guy the head coach. You have Josh Allen and the creativity, the creativity around these play calls with the most dynamic quarterback in the league is atrocious. They either just have Josh run it up the gut or they did the tush push, which is not even their play. Max, you're a Bills fan. They've been doing this all year. I don't think I've seen a lot of tush push all year. From the
they have. I mean, it's just like it's not like Jalen's tush push where you need two guys behind him to get him through. Which, weirdly enough, like in this spot, like you throw Gilliam back there, who knows? Maybe you're actually getting that yard. But you're right. It's not their play. Like that's not what they need to move the ball. Like there's so much that Josh can do. I don't know why they were so reliant on this play at this point. Like it was. I don't know. I'm still looking for answers for it too, because think about the play that they ran to tie the game up, the touchdown to Samuel. Like that was a pretty creative play call. You had Shakir doing the motion behind Josh. Like everyone kind of went there, and then you had Curtis Samuel appeal to the back of the end zone. You could run that at any point, and that's kind of the creativity. But look at the names that you're saying in that spot, right? Like you're saying Shakir, who had a good year, and you're saying Curtis Samuel. Like what Josh has to work with compared to Mahomes, it's not in the same league.
What do we say though? Josh has a way better O-line. Like his protection all game held up. I mean, they had to send blitzes to get after him.
Give me a fucking break, Sage. Give me a fucking break.
It's on them.
Don't act like Josh has more, or Josh has more at his fucking side than Mahomes does.
His O-line's great, but I mean,
right now.
When you're looking at strength on strength, like
dude,
that,
you guys are missing the point though. It's really like I get with the personnel with the receivers, it's not great, but you have a great O-line, you have a great quarterback, and you have a great running back. You should stick to that brand of like running the ball to James Cook, play action, short passing game. That's how you dissect. Like what they did against the Niners. I know no one's going to remember this game, but how they attacked the Niners. Like they ran it with Cook, short pass game to Shakir, getting it to the tight ends. Like that should be their formula. I'm saying it's on Joe Brady. I really think it's on Joe
100%. 100%.
Like the play call, the personnel use, all of it. Like it was disgusting. It was 100% disgusting, but you can't make those mistakes, right? And when you have to overcome bad play call and bad personnel, and you're Josh Allen, you got to be perfect. And you weren't perfect. And it sucks. It sucks. But when you're in that upper echelon, like that tier, that GOAT tier, some people think you're the guy. You got to be perfect.
That is true. We would light up Mahomes if he didn't get it done no matter what he did.
That's like my only point. It's like, it's not like he's Brock Purdy. It's not like he's Brock Purdy here. It's not like he's fucking Dak Prescott, right? Where it's like Dak needed to be Superman. It's like Dak can't be Superman. We've seen Josh do it. He did it the first time they played. How did they beat him the first time? O-line protecting, Josh running, Josh not making mistakes, running with James Cook. Why do you go away with it? Possess the ball. Keep it away from them. Don't make mistakes. Why go away from it? I can't believe it. Like, I seriously can't believe it. I feel like they psyched themselves. Like, I seriously feel like they just psyched themselves.
I mean, okay, so really quickly here, I kind of wanted your guys' opinion on this because at the time, I kind of agree with the decision on the field, but now I look back at it after the game, and I said, how could you possibly make that call? So when it was 10, I believe it was 14-10 Chiefs in the second quarter. The Chiefs had 3rd and 5 on the Buffalo 29. Mahomes throws it up to Worthy. I think it was Bishop who was in coverage. Looks like he goes to intercept it. Eventually, they get off the ground. They call it a catch for Worthy, but clearly the ball hits the ground. It doesn't seem like Worthy has possession, but after they review it, they still say that it's a catch. The Chiefs go on to score a touchdown, take, honestly, a pretty decisive 11-point lead. What do you guys think about that play? I thought it was pretty 50-50. You saw Steratore, you saw Romo. I don't think they agreed with the call on the field either.
Well, what was funny, Max, I'll let you go here, but what was funny is Steratore thought it was an incomplete pass, right? And then Romo thought it was picked. So it could have gone 3 ways, and of course it goes the Chiefs' way.
I don't get how you call that on the field a catch for Worthy when he clearly didn't have possession when the ball hit the ground.
Yeah, 100% now.
Yeah, but it's also there's a holding on the play. It was going to be an automatic first anyways.
Yeah,
and it's just you have that same feeling of the Chiefs are still going to find a way to score a touchdown. In a way, I mean, it didn't make a difference. The Bills still went down and scored a touchdown. In my head, I was like, just don't challenge it. Just take what you're going to get and move on. I had a feeling the Chiefs were going to score a touchdown regardless, but I wanted the Bills to get the ball back to drive down, score a touchdown before half so that the Chiefs didn't double up because they were getting the ball to start the second half. It was just try and find a way to make the most of the situation. A play like that is always going to go the Chiefs' way. Try and move on as quickly as possible. Like, what's the difference between them starting on the 8 and the 20?
But that's bullshit that you guys think like that.
Max, that was the hold on DeMar, right?
Yeah, it was the
Kelsey. When he was on Kelsey, dude, every time he matched up on Kelsey, it was a hold or it was some bullshit where he just got thrown off his spot. That cannot happen.
There's two different,
Going back
two
to
different
Andy
players.
Great job at getting these guys isolated on these terrible corners, these terrible safeties, making plays when they had to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say that at the end of the game, I was shitting on the Buffalo defense a little bit, but they got the stop that they semi-needed. I mean, the Chiefs got down to the 10, I don't know, within what, a minute 30? You thought maybe the Bills defense could get a big stop, get it to Josh, and then all you need is a field goal to win at Arrowhead. That right away, you just threw it out. You're like, okay, let's just stop him, get a field goal. So they got that first and goal sack on Mahomes. They eventually get him off. When they were down 3 and they had 3:30, 2 timeouts left, I said, this is their game. This is their game. Like, this is perfect. You could run a legit drive. You're not in a 2-minute drill. You could run the ball a little bit, give it to James Cook, get it to Josh, and I can't believe they fucked it up. If you would have told me before the game that we're down 3, but we had the ball with 3:30 left, all we have to do is ice the clock, get into the end zone, we win, everybody in Buffalo would have taken that. And
what does our boy Brady always say in this
shocked
situation?
Because coming into this game, man, I thought that Josh was going to get it done no matter what, and it was just shocking to see that 4th and 5 play, see them not convert, and for it to be over.
What does our boy Brady always say in those situations? It's so key that you get positive yards on that first play. First play, you run a draw or maybe just a straight handoff, right, to Ty Johnson, -3 yards, -2 yards, whatever it was. And then it just felt like everything you gained after that was so hard. Everything went to 3rd down, 4th down. Nothing was easy, like Chase alluded to. Chiefs, I think it was 3 passes, 1 to Worthy, 1 to Juju, and then how did they score? Was it Kareem Hunt or however they scored? Or maybe it was a Mahomes run again, right? I think Mahomes ran it in again. However they did it, right? Each time they got down there. Or that was the field goal, but each time they got down there, it just seems so easy. All their scoring drives were the Bills. Everything was so harder and harder, and then it was a Mac Hollins long ball that just separated everything else. But everything inside of that for the Bills just felt like it took forever. Like everything went to 3rd down, 4th down, running the ball. It was like 4 or 5 yards a pop. I mean, you got to just hand it to them, man. The Chiefs, when it comes down to it, they know how to make plays. And the Bills just got tight.
The 1st and 10 pass with 2 minutes, 25 seconds left is almost fireable for me. I don't know how you don't just run the ball, get some positive yards, take it to the 2-minute warning, and really get an idea of what you're going to do. I was shocked at the time, and it's aging even worse now. Like that's all I could think about. And you set yourself up for failure right away when you did that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've tried to spin in as many positives as I can. Still Brady's first full year with the offense. I mean,
oh, don't give me that shit, Max. Don't give me that shit. If you're in the position and you got Josh Allen as your quarterback, you got to make it fucking happen. You got to take the simple yardage there. You know the Chiefs are running the ball there. They ran the ball all fucking day. I think Patrick Mahomes only had about 212 yards. They had everything go through the run game. You want to burn the clock. You want to make sure that even if you score, you don't give the Chiefs any time left. So.
Also, this is the same excuse you guys used last year. Like when you guys fired Ken
I'm not
Dorsey,
making a fucking excuse, Sage. I'm
talking to Matt.
He's talking to me.
Oh, got it.
Relax.
I'm on fire right now, dude. I'm on fire. I'm ready to fucking hit somebody in the mouth right now.
I'll make the Brady excuse right now just because I need to cling to something.
But when you guys fired Dorsey last year and you put Brady in, you're like, oh, it's Brady. He got thrown into this offense. They'll be better next year. I think they were better. They were better than they were with Dorsey, but it's just not enough. You gotta have a super team.
But it's a
At some
different,
point.
it's a whole different offense that they're running. I mean, they're trying to follow the Chiefs mold here, where it's you're trying to play super conservative. You're trying to. That's why it was just so weird the way that they just kind of changed in this game. Like you just had a way that you were moving the ball all season long, and then you just threw it out the window. I think that's the frustrating part. But I'm not going to hold that against. I mean, you could hold it against Brady on a single game, but that doesn't mean I'm less excited for the future. The Chiefs aren't going to win every Super Bowl for the next 5 years.
They might.
They fucking might. I mean, Max, they might.
They're not going. They're not going to.
That's what they said about this year.
I've said this for like 20 or 48 straight months. It's like they can't win back to back. No one wins back to back, and I'm saying they can't win back to back to back, and they beat you with your best shot at them. So
what's like
at
the
some point,
NFL?
I get hit so much in the face that I just gotta accept that I'm probably gonna. If I do this again, I'm gonna get hit in the fucking face.
What's the NFL comparison of KD going to the Warriors to stop LeBron? Like, what would have to happen?
This is like the Jazz can't lose to MJ again in the finals.
No, but I'm saying what would have to happen?
No, they did. They did in 6 games again.
Like, what's the one move that would have to happen to stop them? Does that move even exist? Like Josh?
Yeah, it's called someone taking a shot at Mahomes' knee and he's out.
Yeah, I mean like someone like a Saquon, or is that kind of running back going to the Chiefs? Like, but I don't know.
Going to the Chiefs?
Oh my God, can you imagine Saquon on the Chiefs?
Are you talking about from the Chiefs' point of view or the Bills?
No, I'm saying like, okay, when no one could stop LeBron, right? The Warriors got KD.
Oh, okay.
Stop him. Like, what is that equivalent?
Are you just going to the best hits right now? Are you trying to get me fired up? What
no, but I'm just saying, like,
when no one could stop LeBron in the NBA.
Like, he had the Heat run, he had the 3-1 comeback. No one could stop LeBron. Well, I'm saying, what would it take for that?
I fucking hate you.
The answer to that is a Chiefs it's Reed retiring, it's Kelsey retiring, it's Chris. Like, it's one of those guys deciding that their career is done. Like,
I was just thinking it today when they're like driving the ball. I'm like, why can't Juju Smith-Schuster just fumble and the drive ends like?
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, they're like I don't know, 8 years due for some scrub that they roll out to just fumble in the big.
Like, where's McCole Hardman when you need
Never
him?
happened.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Oh, P. Ryan, his one touch of the game was like the play clinching drive. Like, why couldn't he have just dropped that pass? Like you, and then Bills would have had like a minute 30.
I mean, they got it last year. Max, wasn't it last year when McCole he fumbled it at the 1, right?
Yeah.
Against the Bills, and they still won. That's the difference between Lamar and Mahomes. You can say what you want, but he overcomes his receiver fumbling. This year, he overcomes the bad snap. He did enough to actually win them the game. That's the difference between the greats and the not so greats.
Can we just have this conversation now? Because I don't know what the line is. You guys already looked at the line. Don't say the line. We're gonna guess it later. But in all honesty, I think we all agree. Like we all think that the Chiefs are gonna beat the Eagles 2 weeks from now in New Orleans. So I think that the Chiefs are gonna go back to back to back.
They're gonna stop that run. You just know
where do you see the Chiefs' legacy right now? Because I already said it. I think that these past 3 years, this is the best team that I've ever seen. I think this is the best team in NFL history. Maybe not the most dominant team, but clearly, no team can find a way to stop these guys. Any situation, they find a way. So
it might take for 2 years.
Where do you see Mahomes, Reed, and this entire Chiefs team's legacy right now heading into the Super Bowl?
They could clinch it. They could clinch the best dynasty where it's indisputable. Like, could you ever see Mahomes, like this Chiefs team, losing to like an Eli Manning team? Like
no, and that's what I was gonna say, Sage.
Right? Like it's like
everybody's gonna point to the Patriots. Everybody's gonna point to the Patriots, and this team's better than the Patriots. I'm sorry to say it.
Better. It's the only thing you could hold on to with the Patriots is they played each other and the Patriots got them. Like the Brady Mahomes thing. Brady saw him twice in the playoffs, once in the Super Bowl, once in the AFC Championship, got them both. So if you want to make the individual argument, I get it. But as a dynasty, as a team, the coaching battle is just about even, right? One's an offensive genius, one's a defensive genius. The coordinators, I think the Chiefs have the advantage with Spags. I never thought the Patriots coordinators were that elite. And then you have the quarterbacks, the personnel, whatever.
Brady, you got Bill Belichick basically running the defense.
Yeah, and you got your guys, elevating. So it's tough. I mean, you're comparing the upper echelon because you look at what the Chiefs or what the Patriots did for such a long time, and just to compare it to this individual run that the Chiefs have, you got to see it for a couple more years. But at their peak, like right now, I don't know what's the best Chiefs team. Like, what's the best Patriots team? Like, if you put them against each other, who do you got?
I probably got the best Patriots team over the best Chiefs team, but these guys just don't lose. These guys don't
lose to scrubs. They always take care of business.
They just don't give up in big situations. They always make the play, whether it's on defense and offense. And it's happened now for about what is this now? 7-8 years running.
He's been the starter for 7 years. This is his 6th Super Bowl.
At a point, you gotta call a spade and say that
Or
this
5,
is,
5th
this
Super
is
Bowl.
the best. This is the best team. I think this is the best quarterback we've ever seen as well.
Yeah, I was trying to say when you were trying to put Josh over, I'm like, you got to look at like that. Like sometimes it's simple, but just look at who's winning, who's there at the end of the year, who steps up in the biggest moments. Like this guy can't be beat. He's never. What's like the biggest like fumble of his career? Like I don't even remember him having a bad game in a big moment. I guess
The Buccaneers Super Bowl is probably the one that everybody would point to.
The Bengals, the pick.
Yeah, Bengals second half. Yeah, the second.
Everybody
half
says that he was concussed in that game. He
absolutely was.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have like the blemish on the career yet. I mean, there's still a football game to be had. Who knows? Maybe Saquon just runs it on him. If any team's going to beat him, I feel like it could be Philly just because they could possess the hell out of the ball. But do I see it? No. I mean, am I loving being a Chiefs future holder right now? Yes. So
you got to. I mean, you got to, Sage. Are you hedging?
No.
I already bet the game.
Oh,
I already bet the Chiefs again.
Okay.
Really?
Chase, when you hear the line, you're going to be shocked.
I don't think I'm going to be shocked. I feel like I know where it's going. I think I know where it's going to be going, but I mean, anything else, guys? Any kind of closing arguments? This sucks. Everybody and their mother was rooting for the Buffalo Bills there. You felt like they had it, and it's like the evil empire won again. It's like Darth Vader found a way to win because he wins every single time. I'm surprised I even did this, man. Like I was honestly so depressed right after that game. Right after that Samaje Perine catch, I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this podcast? Like, I'm running on no energy. The Chiefs have just stripped my soul, not only with my 49ers by beating us in the Super Bowl twice, but Josh Allen's my favorite player in the NFL, and they have just demolished what could have been his legacy as one of the best quarterbacks ever, 7 years into his career. So I can't believe they did it, but at some point,
just the saddest part,
you just gotta call them the greatest. Call them the Bills' daddies.
I'm gonna set a reminder in my calendar right now. 365 days, we'll be right back here in this spot. Chase,
I'll be like Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow's gonna find a way to break down that defense.
I was gonna stake my claim. 7:48 on January 26th. This time next year, we will be talking about the Super Bowl preview of the Bills Niners.
Do you know what's gonna be funny? Is it?
I hope so.
Like, the Chiefs can't four-peat, can they? Like that's going to be the story. No one's going to pick the Chiefs because everyone's going to be
I've already started that. I've come to.
I don't think they're going to win next year. If they win this year, I will not pick them next year. There's no way they four-peat. But then again, like you just get them in the playoffs, even as the 7th seed. It's like who's going to beat them, right? Like,
yeah, all right, guys. All right, guys. So Chiefs win 32-29. Patrick Mahomes goes to what is this? His 5th Super Bowl now? Fifth Super Bowl in 8 years. So the Chiefs are back. Josh Allen is now 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That sucks. But let's head over to the NFC Championship game now.
Josh.
So
it was a good year.
The Eagles took on the Commanders at the Link in Philly. Jane Daniels, everybody was believing in him. I don't think I've ever seen – I never really got a picture of what Washington football fans were like, but this entire week leading up, it seems like everybody came out of the closet. That was a Washington football fan. And you felt the energy, man. A lot of people are getting behind this Jaden train, but the Eagles honestly dominated the game, guys. They won 55-23. Saquon, 15 rushes, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Eagles offense dominated, and Jaden didn't play bad, but you kind of just realized that there weren't enough pieces around him at that. Even though we may not believe in Jalen Hurts, we may not believe in Nick Sirianni, they got a fucking squad, and they were too much for the Commanders all day today.
I mean, could I blame any of this on Jaden? It seemed like he had them right there. What was it, 14-12? And then it was like fumble. Eagles get the ball at half. Game's just over. Like he's not on the field, basically. He's on the field for like 20 seconds within like an hour period of real life time. And the game's just basically over. I mean, he had opportunities to drive them, and he was driving them. I think they were down 12, driving them down the field, and then Eckler fumbles. So it's like his teammates did him no favors. De'Ami Brown dropping balls. The play calling today was awful. And I mean, the Commanders just didn't show up. The moment
if you blame Jaden, you should be thrown in prison.
Yeah.
Like
the moment was just too big.
Yeah. You should be thrown in the loony bin. That is not the take that you should get from this game.
But I don't know, man. It's just like the Eagles, like they're just a different team every week. Like I never know what to expect. Like they looked like the best team. They were playing that Commanders team that was awful, but they did beat the Lions. and the Eagles just pulled their pants down and spanked them. That was BTA. Like, Will Shipley got a touchdown. Saquon had 2. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were connecting all over the place. Dallas Goedert was running open. Like, anything the Eagles wanted to do the entire game on offense, that defense stepping up. Quinyon Mitchell, right? Our boy Cooper DeJean making plays like rookies.
The secondary played great today. They definitely stood out. They were locking up the
Jalen Carter just living in that backfield all game, stopping the run, getting to Jaden. So they got a defense, man. They got a squad. They got a defense. I'm curious to see like how legit they are. We'll see a matchup against the Chiefs, but at the end of the day, like the Commanders were moving the ball on them. It was just these costly turnovers that screwed them. They put up 23
so Sage, they had 4 turnovers. They had the 3 fumbles, the Jaden pick at the end, but every single turnover led to a touchdown from Philly. I think Philly was 7 for 7 in the red zone. So every time they got it into the red zone, they scored. So they were humming. Let's be honest. It's so funny looking back on it now. I've been kind of pushing back against it the entire playoff run. They're like, oh, this Commanders defense, they're starting to get better. They were no, stop it. This Commanders defense was always suspect. The Lions lit them up for like 32, but Jared Goff had a nightmare game. And I felt like going into this game, I knew that the Philly O-line was going to move this Commanders D-line. They were going to be able to run the ball all day. They were going to be able to put up points on the board. Also, we expected Jalen Hurts to be hurt. He did not look hurt at all. Before the game,
they shot him up with something.
He took off the knee brace. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, he couldn't fucking move 7 days ago. And then he looked fine. So when you saw that, I feel like the Commanders were like, oh, shit. Like, we got a fully mobile Jalen. That's not good. And then first play, Saquon breaks off a 60-yard touchdown run.
Exactly.
You knew that was going to be a long day for that Commanders defense.
You open it up, 7-minute drive. You convert 2 4th downs. You don't go for on 4th and 3, kick a field goal. You're feeling good. Have Philly on their back, and then great punt return or great kick return, and then next play Saquon 60-yard touchdown. So it just flipped on its head real quick.
Between that and then you have just AJ Brown just dogging Lattimore all game long. I think
see him read once. Did not see him read once today. He was getting targets. FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Funny how that works.
Funny how that works. I think Lattimore is weirdly one of those guys I enjoy watching get dogged like more than anyone.
Yeah, it's like him and Jalen Ramsey.
He's like Josh Norman at the end of his career when Josh Norman just had no legs left, and he's the guy who's talking endless shit and just holding and getting burned. But was he going up? I think he had one play where he got called for PI on Devonta Smith that placed it on the 1. But yeah, AJ Brown was dominating him. Let's be honest though, it was bullshit when AJ Brown literally just grabbed him by the face mask, ripped his fucking helmet off, and then they threw the flag and called it on Lattimore. I'm like, come on.
It's always the second guy.
Lattimore's not the good guy here, but you gotta at least call it both sides and just give them both tees.
It doesn't matter. Like at the end, Philly was the better team, but all those penalties were going right to Philly. Like the late hit out of bounds on Saquon, the fumble by Eckler that looked like the Commanders' recovery just went right to Philly. Like, I don't know, that play with AJ Brown where it was clearly on the other guy, it just felt like, I don't know, everything went in Philly's direction. They needed all the help they could get on the Washington side, and even that went to Philly, which aided a 54-point performance. Like, that's what it takes. Like, Philly humming on offense plus getting every single call equals a 54-point domination.
So I'll say this. I think we have the winner for the biggest balls play I've ever seen in my life. So the Commanders were down 14-3. I think this is with like 4 minutes left in the first quarter. So you got to be thinking, if you're Commanders, like, we still got Jane Daniels. You know, our defense been playing well. Like, we're still in this game. Fucking Dan Quinn. So 4th and 6. They're on their own 30. He sends in Tress Way, like, just like filling it up, gives a little fade ball to, I forgot who caught it, but that fake punt. Crazy. I mean, it worked out, but I thought at that point, I'm like, oh shit, the Commanders are back in it. They score a field goal, so they're still down 1 score. I think that they get a stop, right? Or no, Elliott misses that 54-yard field goal. What do we think about that play by Sirianni there? You're up 14-3. You have the kicker who's been struggling all year. You send him out for a 54-yard field goal instead of trying to just kind of put the Commanders in a tough spot, give them a bad field position with that number 1 defense that's been running all year. What do you think about Sirianni's play call right there?
I don't know. I mean, wasn't there one play? It was in the Bills game, we made the comment like, this is why we aren't coaches. When we said kick the field goal, instead they scored a touchdown on that play. There's some of those plays where it's just like, like they probably just know something that we don't. in that situation, it seems like Elliott hasn't been as bad in the playoffs as he was regular season. But I don't know. I think that's more of a reflection of just how they felt against the Commanders.
What have you done for me lately? He's been he's been a minus all year.
So my read on that situation is they kind of felt like they could dominate that game. They saw what they were doing in the run game. I think you're just trying to build that guy's confidence before you go to a Super Bowl and it goes the other way, right? Like it could go one of two ways. It went left when it should have gone right. You trot him out there, a 54-yard field goal in the cold. I get it, but you need that guy upright. Like you need his head in the right place if you're going to take on the Chiefs or the Bills, whoever it was at the time. Now we know it's the Chiefs. If your kicker's shaky, it's just something you can't have working against you. We said it with the Bills, with Josh. You got to beat them in all three levels. And if your special team's going to lose you the game, then you have no chance of winning against the Chiefs.
So you're saying that you got to get this guy's confidence up and you just got to throw him out there because eventually you're going to need him against the Chiefs? I'm sorry, bro. I'm trying to win the game. If I don't think you can hit a 54-yard field goal, which you clearly couldn't, it wasn't even close, I'm not going to fucking roll you out. I'm not going to roll you out for that kick. That's me. I think I tweeted this 2 weeks ago. I said, Jake Elliott will be the reason that the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl. So
he'll be kicking in a dome in a couple of weeks. Maybe it won't be as bad.
But even after that,
New Orleans,
after that,
Bills Eagles Super Bowl. Go ahead.
But even after that missed field goal, so the Commanders get it back with good field position. Jane Daniels hits Terry McLaurin on that 36-yard play. They missed a 2-point conversion, so they're still down, but it's 14-12. You feel like, okay, Jane Daniels is starting to move the ball in this Eagles defense. But once again, I mean, the Commanders defense just got deep-throated the entire game. And I think after the Eagles score, then you had that fumble by, I think it was De'Ami Brown at that point. So every single time it seemed like Jaden gave the Commanders a chance to get back in the game. The defense blew it or somebody on the Commanders fumbled it. So just a tough game. Tough game if you're a Commanders fan, for sure to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those. Go ahead, Max.
I was going to say, tough game, but in the end, still, like, you got way farther than you thought you were going to get. I mean, 10-win turnaround from last year. Like, it's one of those moral victories that you take. Obviously, you hate to lose in that spot, but you're pretty happy with how everything turned out this year.
One playoff win in 25 years with Dan Snyder. You already had 2 this year.
I was going to say, it's one of those where you're really playing with house money. Like, you can never really say, like, because it's always Super Bowl or bust, but with them, it's you saw their limitations. It was on full display from start to finish how bad that special teams defense and the offense around Jaden Daniels is. You have your guy. You got to just be happy about that. He pushed Philly. I mean, they were still scoring. You take away those turnovers, they would have put 30 on a really good defense. I think
they were moving the ball. Even when they turned the ball over, it wasn't like they were getting stuffed and getting, stopped for 3 and outs. Like,
he wasn't forcing
the ball.
Shit. It was just ball was getting punched out. Like, these weren't like forced turnovers. I mean, the one at the end was, but you had to make something happen. It was just, they were just losing the ball. De'Ami Brown couldn't handle it. Eckler couldn't handle it. Was it McNichols, the guy who just ran into his own guy on the punt?
Yeah, that was disgusting. That was disgusting.
It was just, and then you let that Philly crowd get into it when they were tied at first. And Philly, I mean, they're front runners. They're the biggest, like,
they're complete
snowball going downhill. Like, you give them a 10-point lead, they'll embarrass you. Like, they'll straight up embarrass you.
Yeah, but I mean, Sage, everybody says it's the NFL. The window may never be open. You may get to the NFC Championship game. You may never get back. But this is probably the most house money situation, like you said, that I've seen ever, because you've been a franchise for the past 30 years. You haven't done dick. You've been in like the most toxic ownership group of all time. You get Jane Daniels. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in 2 to 3 years. I think you have the most cap space in the league next year. So you're going to have some money to spend on guys to build up on that defense, build up on that O-line to make sure that you protect Jaden, and maybe get some weapons that he could throw to. So you got to say that the Commanders are lining up in 2 to 3 years to be a fucking badass team. You got Adam Peters coming in there from the 49ers front office. Everybody in the league respects him. So I kind of trust him to get Jaden in the best situation. And I think that the Commanders fans are going to be happy because you're going to have a fucking squad in 2 to 3 years, I think.
Got the quarterback, you got the coach. I mean, imagine if the Falcons don't blow a 28-3 lead. I don't think they're in this situation right now.
Yeah, what's our take on Dan Quinn? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of gave more credit to Kyle Shanahan for that Falcons Super Bowl run that happened in 2016. He gets canned a couple years after. Honestly, at one point, he was kind of a joke, right? Like, he was semi a joke, I think, at the start of his Cowboys tenure when he was defensive coordinator. He obviously made that Cowboys defense into a top 5 defense, got the job in Washington, but I feel like you got to say that Dan Quinn may be a top 10, dare I say it, close to top 5 coach in the league. He impressed me this year.
Culture. Sage likes to say it. He sets a
backwards
culture.
hat and all. Backwards hat and all. He's still getting it done.
You see how big of a difference it was with the Cowboys defense this year. Micah was saying it all offseason how much they were going to miss him in Dallas. Like, there's all those little things. I mean, obviously it's 1 year. There's a lot that could happen, but you have to feel pretty good about kind of what he's reset there and the direction they're heading. I mean, in my opinion, they're the scariest NFC team right now. You have arguably
the Eagles.
The potential's crazy. No, the potential's crazy.
Like, if you're forecasting the next 3 or 4 years, like, Eagles have a bunch of big contracts on the books, stuff like that. Like, you have your quarterback on a rookie deal, like, in all the cap space, you have a lot you're able to do. If you have the quarterback and the coach, Kingsbury's not taking any head coaching jobs, so you get another year of that.
How much credit should we really give Cliff Kingsbury? Or is it just that Jaden Daniels is a badass?
I think it's just Jaden Daniels, to be honest.
That's what I think, too.
I mean,
I'm not going to be giving
you
credit
build
to
an offense that's so similar to college offense that he ran. Like, I mean, it was kind of just a perfect role for Kingsbury. Like, I mean, he was that's how he got an NFL head coaching job. He was a great play caller in college, and he kind of just knew the exact system to run for Jaden in this system. Like, it worked.
See what happens.
It works.
You see what happens when talented guys go to shitty systems. Like, you see what happened with Caleb and the Bears. Like, you see what happens when these rookies go to bad systems. It ruins them. It's good that you had someone who could actually get guys open. I mean, the talent wasn't there. The personnel wasn't there. The O-line sucked. You're out your right guard, and you still had guys open. Obviously, the quarterback can make all the plays necessary, but you got to get a scheme going. You can't be like the Pittsburgh Steelers and just rely on culture, just rely on Dan Quinn or Mike Tomlin, whoever it is. You got to have some sort of offensive juice and firepower.
It's like, hey, we're 9-8. All we need is Russell Wilson. We could get it done, make the playoffs again. I mean, I'll tell you right now, this is my prediction. So the Titans are going to draft Cam Ward, right? The Commanders are going to make another playoff run. Everybody's going to give Cliff Kingsbury head coaching buzz. Whoever, I forgot who the coach is on the Titans. Is it Callahan?
Yeah.
He's going to get canned. They're going to have another shitty season. Cam Ward's not going to look that good. They're going to think, oh, we got a young quarterback. We need to get a guy like Cliff Kingsbury in there. Look what he did with Jaden Daniels in Washington. And we're going to see the same shit that we saw in Arizona. Kingsbury's not going to be the guy. He's going to go to the Titans. Cam Ward's probably going to be a bust and not work out. So, I don't know. Kingsbury's getting the love. You got Peter Schrager going on Bill Simmons' show. Talk about he went to Thailand and really reshifted all of his ideals. He just wanted to be a coordinator, and he fell into the perfect spot with Jaden Daniels. Stop.
I can't tell.
Jaden Daniels is one of the best talents that we've ever seen.
Sure, but it's not like that's unheard of. Like, you see it all the time. Like, look at Spags. Like, Spags failed as a head coach, and he finds a perfect system to be a D coordinator.
But that's different because Spagnuolo took down the best offense of all time in the Super Bowl and won with a 9-7 football team. Kingsbury's never had that kind of success in the league. So I'm gonna have to push back on the Spagnuolo to Kingsbury connection.
Maybe, but
a little bit, just a little bit.
I don't know. I think there's still something to be said about guys that are just better coordinators than head coaches, and they kind
of that's 100% what it is. There's a lot more that goes into a team than just fucking calling plays. Like, you got to build a culture. That's what I'm saying. Like, with Dan Quinn, it's like he's never going to be recognized as one of the best because he's not an offensive mind, like one of these gurus. Like a guy like KOC who flames out in the playoffs every year is going to get more recognition than him. Than a guy like Dan Quinn, like a guy like Dan Campbell, if you want to say, a guy who builds like a culture and actually has like a team that plays for him and plays hard.
Yeah, I feel like Kingsbury's probably the guy who parties a little bit, maybe chips some coke, DMs Instagram models. I don't think you want that guy as your head coach, but that guy's a perfect offensive coordinator. You know, he's got some ideas flowing. You know, he's like a young guy. He could connect to the young quarterback, but it's not head coach material. It
all came full circle in Washington, right? Like, everyone was because last year, who was their OC? It was Bieniemy, right? And 2 years ago, it was like, what was the topic? It's like, you know, it would be a great offensive coordinator for a young quarterback, Eric Bieniemy. Like, let's get him for Sam Howell. Maybe he'll rejuvenate him. Like, he'll have a young offensive mind, a good coordinator, a good quarterback, and then he gets canned. Kingsbury comes in, and now he's the hot topic for someone to poach him and take him for their quarterback. So the NFL just moves like clockwork, man. It'll never fail. We always see it, even though it's never these coordinators. It's always the guy on top.
I mean, it's so funny. We always talked about, we didn't have a podcast obviously then, but everybody was like, I can't believe Eric Bieniemy didn't get recognition for a head coaching job. Look what he's doing with this Chiefs offense. You could argue that Tyreek Hill left, Eric Bieniemy left, and they're way better. I mean, they're on the way to winning 3 Super Bowls in a row without him. He currently was the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator at UCLA, and he got fired by his best friend. He got fired by like one of his best friends.
No, he was let go to go pursue other opportunities.
100%. Yeah,
there's a mutual agreement.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, so I gotta say with the Commanders, you gotta be feeling good. What do we think about that Frankie Louvu like little free-play run?
Just kept running,
just kept running
jumping
and jumping like prime Troy Polamalu over the Eagles or over the line of scrimmage. It was funny. I mean, Mike Pereira was firing on all cylinders. He's like, fuck, who was calling? He's like Tom and Kevin. This is getting to the point where maybe they have to award them a free score.
I wanted that to happen so bad.
Right away, 3 seconds later.
Hockley.
What's that referee's name?
It was Sean Hockley.
Sean Hockley goes on. He's like, and you gotta say, what a showman. I mean, he laid it out. I've never seen
he's just like his dad
call this out. He's at the link and he's saying, like, if we see a play like this again, we're gonna have to award a free score. So Mike Pereira was on top of it. It's almost like Sean Hockley was hearing Mike Pereira's commentary and was going based on what he was saying. He was so on point.
Like, yeah, they're all over it with that. It was just ridiculous. I mean, they just kept getting him with the hard count. It was like he just kept jumping and jumping. Like it got to the point where he took out Jalen Hurts and then he knew he was coming so he could fake him, get him off sides, and then have enough time to take a step back and avoid the hit. Like they were so in the Commander's head with that. It was ridiculous because they stopped him once, right? They stopped him once on the 2-point conversion, I think it was. And then after that, they just kept selling out. Seems like the Chiefs have it figured out, but Frankie Louvu definitely doesn't have it figured out. That guy's still jumping over the line of scrimmage.
It was funny because I was watching Remo and he was like, well, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Like, they can't stop it. I'm like, well, you can't do that. You can't do that. And, like, in all honesty, like, no one would have been mad if they were just like, yeah, this is a touchdown. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's on the half-yard line. Like, I swear to God, like, it was, like, this far away from the fucking from the end zone, the ball. And it's like, how much more can we do here? Like, you eventually, like, I get it. It's a tough spot. You're trying to make a play happen in a situation where it's almost 100% certainty that they're going to score, but it was funny. They were getting their ass kicked anyway, so it's not something that anybody could be really pissed off about. But I thought that was probably the sequence that I remember most from the game, if I'm being honest. Kind of a shitty game. Like you said it before we did the preview stage, that in these NFC Championship, AFC Championship weekends, you always have one shitty game, one pretty solid game. This was a shitty game. Let's be frank. The Eagles dominated. I mean,
yeah, the Eagles.
We got to give the Eagles some credit, too.
100%. They were able to run the ball with Will Shipley. I mean, what's his name? Kenneth Gainwell before he got hurt. I'm not saying Saquon's assistant running back, but people don't give that O-line enough credit. I mean, they get pushed. They get that first play. They got 15 yards of, like, push before Saquon was even touched. Then he spins out of 2 tackles and scores, obviously doing that on his own. But they dominate you in the trenches. That D-line, you got Jordan Davis. You got Jalen Carter, Sweat. Like, they got big boys up there. They push the line of scrimmage both ways. They just physically they squeeze the life out of you. I know it's funny because they just put up 54, but I've been saying it all year. People want that old Philly offense that scores 30, 40 points a game. They're not that anymore. Maybe they are when they play the Commanders. But
I mean,
really
I don't know, Sage. They just put up 55 points. Are you sure you could say that?
That was more off the turnovers.
Bad
though, I want to say.
Support your claim right now that they just came off a 55-point game fucking 3 hours ago. Just saying.
I know it is tough. That's what I'm saying. Like, kind of ironic here. So maybe they are that. Maybe they're just the best team in the league, and we're overlooking the fuck.
That's like me saying, "Oh, the Chiefs." Like, I don't know if their offense could get it done and score 30 points. It's like, yo, they just scored 32 points and beat the Bills.
No, this is different. That was all Mahomes. I feel like there was a lot of like Commanders like things there. That being said, it's going to be an interesting battle versus the Chiefs because both these teams, they just want to play defense, possess the ball, and not make mistakes. Like this Super Bowl is going to be over like that. You're going to take your first sip of your drink, and Kendrick Lamar is going to be out there performing not like us. Like,
see, I don't know, Sage, because they're stacked. I mean, Max, the D-line, the secondary. I mean, that defense across the board is just stacked. I mean, the one area of that defense that you'd say is the weakest has the guy who I guess is going to be Defensive Player of the Year, Zach Bond. Is he the favorite, or is he like one of the guys in the mix?
Surtain's going to win it, right?
I think Surtain's the favorite, but I mean, Bond's been the most impressive guy this year, like defensive. Like the dude was a special teamer with the Saints, and all of a sudden he's an all-pro linebacker with the he's been a godsend for them because
that's what I'm saying. So you're stacked on all levels of the defense.
Supposed to be Devin White there.
You have the best O-line in football. You got Saquon Barkley running the ball. You got weapons like Devonta, AJ Brown. I mean, Dallas Goedert had a game too, so it's hard for me to say that they're going to get their ass kicked by the Chiefs because they're just so good everywhere else.
They have a couple weeks to get healthy. I mean, if you're looking at the health battle right now, like Eagles are at a disadvantage. You had Dickerson got pretty banged up in that game. He looked like he could barely walk.
Hey, he was flexing at the end there. He was flexing at the end there. I think he'll be all right. I think
he was filling in at center today because Juergens was like, he was active, but he wasn't healthy enough to start. So those two need to get healthy the next couple of weeks. And if they're not at 100%, I mean, that's a huge advantage for the Chiefs D line. And then obviously you lose. Well, I'm drawing a blank on the other linebacker that got hurt for the Eagles.
Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, so that's a big loss there, and I mean that's right in the Kelsey zone. So you're losing that battle right off the bat, but you got Fangio. He has plenty of time to do what he can to scheme something up.
That was kind of funny because you see Juergens is hurt, but he's still suited up. Do you think they just kind of knew that they were going to kick the shit out of the Commanders? Like, I've never seen that where a guy like Juergens, by the way, he's the most important center in the league because of what they do with the tush push. Every short yard situation, they need him. No, but this is what I'm saying, that the center position is more important for the Eagles than any other team in football. So the fact that he wasn't ready to go, but he was also suited up, kind of made me think like he was good enough, but they just didn't want to risk it because they knew they were honestly probably going to kick the shit out of the Commanders. I mean, I don't know. That was kind of weird. I've never really seen a situation like that where a player that's so important was not getting run time, and then eventually Dickerson was just so hurt, and then Juergens comes back into the game.
Yeah. If that game was played at Ford Field, that Juergens is playing. Like that,
right?
It almost reminds me of when the Warriors were in the playoffs, that first round against that Nuggets team, and they have Curry coming off the bench. It's like we have Curry, like it's like break glass in case of emergency. Like we could play him 30 minutes if we need it, but we're gonna bring him in for 20 minutes off the bench. He'll sub in for Jordan Poole, and he's gonna put up 20-25 because that's how unworried we are about this matchup. That's kind of what I was thinking of there.
I think that was the peak for the dumbest fucking KNBR calls of all time. Like you just get like some dude who's hitting the blunt at like 8 a.m. in the morning calling the morning show. It's like, I'll be on it. Hey, Murph and Mac, Steph off the bench is looking really good. Like I think that like maybe this is something we should consider for the rest of the way. This year. It's like stop. It's like Doug from Oakland. Stop right now. Put the blunt down. Like this is not going to keep on going on. So, yeah, bro, that was the peak for dumbest KNBR.
They tried that this year with Draymond off the bench. They were like, oh, we should do Draymond off the bench to spice it up. And then it's like, oh, you know what? We can't get a fucking stop when it matters. Like Draymond, guess what? You're back in the starting lineup. There's a reason 6 man of the year, they don't start. You need like a 10, 15-minute sprint from these guys. They ain't built to be starters. Sorry. Cam Juergens will probably be starting in the Super Bowl. Also, can I take this time? Can I give a shout out real quick?
Yeah, shout it out, baby.
I need to shout out myself. Go back to week 8, our loyal westbound and down followers.
Fucking douchebag.
Week 8, and they beat the shit out of the Bengals. I said it. I said, this defense reminds me of the Chiefs last year. They have the rookies. They have these young guys. Book it. Eagles to the Super Bowl. Eagles to the Super Bowl. I said
I fucking do a podcast with you, and I don't remember this. So I don't know. We may have to fact check you.
I said they will beat the Lions.
I may have to be like that.
They will beat the Lions.
I may have to fact check you on the spot right there. Chad, somebody go look back at that episode.
Yeah, Chase, I gotta side with him on this one. It was
and Max never sides with me, so you know it's legit.
Fuck you. I'm glad the Bills lost, Max.
I mean, man.
So my Super Bowl exacta hit perfectly. Who's the rightest man in America this morning? It's Sage Abadman.
I mean, it's hard for me, Sage. Like I said, it was tough, like getting onto the stream knowing that you just had you had so much ammunition coming against me. Like I came to a gunfight with a fucking knife. Like I'm just getting blitzed here. I'm getting fucking blitzed here. What can I say?
And you let me have Max too. It's over for you. No, it's funny though, because I remember on Sunday you said, Sage, you're the wrongest man in America. You're a fool, and we're gonna see it on Sunday. We're gonna get to see it.
Yeah, that's right. I said you're gonna look back on this episode and you're gonna say Chase was right. Well, that's not the fucking case for sure. That is not the case.
That's why sure would be close up. That's why it's hashtag bust Chase up. We know.
Okay, so enough about busting me up and how much you're sucking your own dick right now. Clearly, the biggest concern for the Eagles coming to this game, I think the entire year, has been Jalen Hurts. We know that everything around Jalen Hurts, maybe except for Nick Sirianni, is about as good as it could be in the entire league. But he came in a little bit gimpy to this game. What do you guys think about Jalen Hurts? Do you have confidence in him that if he has to throw the ball in the pocket against the Chiefs to win the game, that he could get it done? Because he looked good. He looked good today. You got to give him.
They got no pressure.
When credit's due.
He was sitting back there, pounding the ball 6 times, smoking a stove, and then getting it out, bro. Like they couldn't get anything up in his alley. He sits there like it's nothing, and then when he faces pressure, he rolls out to his right and throws it away. He's got to get some sort of pressure. Do you know who's going to be great at getting pressure on Jalen Hurts? Steve Spagnuolo. He's going to be able to dial up these corner blitzes.
Chris Jones. What was happening here? I mean,
What?
the guy was crying on like so.
We
Josh
want to go back
fumbles.
to this.
No, but I forgot to bring this up. Josh fumbles, gets it back. Looks like Chris Jones is hurt. I'm like, oh, like fuck yeah, let's go. Chris Jones is hurt. He's crying. I'm like, is he hurt? And then he's back the next play. I'm like, wait, why is he crying? The Chiefs had the ball. They're about to ice the game. He's crying like his fucking mom died like 20 minutes before. What was going on with Chris Jones there? Really quick.
It was like a CJ Stroud Tank Dell situation. I couldn't understand it.
He was crying during the anthem, so he was just in cry mode. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is the last year of Chris Jones. He's just soaking it all in. But
that's the guy that you got to be scared of. The guy who will call you a motherfucker is like, I'm your daddy to your face, and then he's crying. Like, the emotions are just so not composed that you don't know what the fuck to expect from that guy.
Yeah.
But okay, so going back to Hurts. So you guys don't believe in him. It seems like you guys are dogging Hurts right now.
Do you believe in him? What has he done to make me believe
I'm
in him?
shocked with how healthy he was. I say
That
we
does-
talked about it. After that Rams game, when we saw that safety, we saw how he looked at the end of the game. The fact that you only had about like 6-7 days to get ready, I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I think he sprained his knee. It's probably going to be about 3-4 weeks till we see Jalen Hurts at 100%. But I think that with how healthy Jalen Hurts looked, with the fact that I don't think Saquon Barkley get stopped. I'll be honest. I really don't think he's going to be able to get stopped. Every single time we head into a week against with the Eagles, we say, Saquon Barkley, except for those 50 yards runs that he breaks off, Chris Jones like that victory from the line. That always cries. Thank you.
That's hilarious.
Chadrick,
That's hilarious.
I agree. I agree with that. But every single time we head into a week, yeah. I think he did it on purpose. Okay, maybe he did. We'll get the longest yard at the end of the stream, but it seems like Saquon Barkley's going to run for 50-yard touchdowns every game, and there's nothing that anybody could do to stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
so even if Jalen Hurts is a little bit questionable, like you got that run game. I get that we're all confident with Chris Jones and that Chiefs D-line, but you got to admit that this Eagles O-line, I think, is the best line that anybody else has got in the league, and that they'll dominate anybody that they're going up against, even if it is the Chiefs. I believe that. I truly believe that.
You underestimate the magic that they have. I really think you underestimate it. Like, it's just going to come. They're going to send blitzes. They're going to get these linebackers up the middle, and they're going to just dare Jalen Hurts to beat him one-on-one. I mean, the Commanders did, but when you have Lattimore in coverage, it's a little different than when you have Trent McDuffie. Yeah. So
I feel like Saquon's going to find a way. You think that they're actually going to bottle up Saquon the entire way?
No.
It won't be what it was today, is all I'm going to say.
It might, but even okay. So I was going to say this: like, if you think the Eagles will win this game, the better bet is just to take Saquon to win MVP. Like that's how you would get better odds on like a money line bet. Because
pull it up right now.
Don't you feel like go ahead, Max.
The only way the Eagles are going to win this game is if Saquon has a game like today. They're not going to win. If you're going to talk yourself into Jalen having a good game against the Chiefs, you're doing the same thing that you did when we all thought the Lions defense had actually turned a corner against Darnold, when we had all the history showing like Darnold was a pumpkin against the Lions. He was a pumpkin against the Rams. Oh, but the Lions defense, maybe they improved. No, they got their asses kicked by the Commanders. It's that same kind of trajectory.
Guess Saquon's odds and then guess Jalen Hurts' odds.
I think Jalen Hurts is probably So this is tough. So I'm going to say Jalen Hurts plus 300. I'm going to say Saquon plus 225.
Okay, Saquon plus 220, Jalen plus 400.
Wow, 400, huh?
So, like I said, I think that there's probably not that much better value.
Max, you already saw it, right?
I did not. I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, I thought you saw. Oh, no shit.
No, we haven't seen shit, Sage.
Yeah, that's why I'm just guessing. But like that makes me. Based on that, I have a little bit of a better idea of what the line would be. Because I think the point I was trying to make kind of hints at that same thing. Like even Vegas believes like if you want the Eagles, like if you think the Eagles are going to win outright, the best bet is Saquon to win MVP.
But don't you feel like to break down this Chiefs defense, you need like some fucking dogs. You need some game breakers in there. And I get that Jalen Hurts is your quarterback. That's obviously not where you want to be. But with like guys like A.J. Brown and Saquon, like I feel like Saquon's going to break off a couple runs no matter what the Chiefs do. I feel like even if you put Trent McDuffie on A.J. Brown, if you throw it up to A.J. Brown, I don't give a fuck if Jesus Christ is covering that corner. Like he's going to come down with it. Like this guy's a fucking animal. So I feel like the Eagles kind of do have I feel like the Eagles do have what's needed to beat this Chiefs defense. You got a great O-line and you got game breakers. So, like, I mean, they went up against Josh, and they kind of held them in check. Like, it doesn't matter if you have that superstar quarterback. You need guys who are going to make plays happen outside from the quarterback position, and the Eagles have it. So I feel like people may be sleeping on the Eagles here a little bit. I get it. That's the Chiefs. I do this every time, right? I fall into the mousetrap every single fucking time. You put the Chiefs for me out there, and I fucking grab it, and I get stung. But something tells me that the Eagles match up pretty good against the Chiefs here. I really do believe that.
I don't know, man. I just disagree. I feel like what the Chiefs do well on defense is what the Eagles need to lean into. I feel like the way you go at the Chiefs is you go at these corners. That's why I said, like, I give the Bills a shot because I think Josh could pick apart those safeties, go at that secondary. When you have it spread out, you have those guys. I mean, McDuffie's a smaller guy, maybe not an ideal matchup for AJ Brown, but he's still an all-pro level corner. You have him to follow AJ Brown, right? You got those cornerback, or you got.
I'd almost put him on Devonta. Just
try and double AJ and try and he'd be a perfect matchup for Devonta. You have that D line, those linebackers who could stop the run. I just think it has to be like a heroic Jalen, like how it was the first time they played.
Yeah.
It has to be Jalen Hurts, like just making passes, like doing everything he can to win in that game except fumbling at the end. But I don't know, man. Like, I just can't see them running all over this Chiefs defense. No one has been able to do it all year. Like, I don't think the Eagles they're the best run team in the league, I still don't think they're going to be able to do it.
Maxie, what do you think, baby?
I think Sage said it perfect. Like, there's been too much turmoil with the Eagles all year long, and it just feels like you're going to get in the biggest stage. You're going to be up against the boogeyman, and it's just not gonna work out. I think, like I said, I've accepted the destiny. We're looking at the dynasty.
I mean, yeah.
This is enough fucking around. We got to guess this thing.
Okay.
Don't want to talk about it.
Should we do guess the lines? All right. So,
yeah.
All right. Maxie, why don't you go ahead first? I need to think about this one a little bit.
I'm going to go Chiefs by 4.5.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is that I think a lot of the public is going to be swayed to the Eagles after how bad they kicked the shit out of the Commanders. I feel like the Sharps are going to kind of be loving the value if you give too many points to the Chiefs too. So I feel like that's going to put the line a little bit more in the Eagles' favor. I'm gonna go with Chiefs minus 2.5.
Chiefs minus 1.5.
Yeah.
Really?
See, dude,
like,
I think the Sharps are gonna be heavy on Philly guys.
It hasn't moved.
They got a.
What do you guys think
squad.
the total's at?
They got a squad.
Total, I'd say 50.5.
No way. No, I think you gotta say it's lower. I'm gonna say 48.5.
49.5. You guys could split that one.
Oh wow.
So.
I'm shocked, but what the?
I know. I mean,
the Eagles are clearly a live dog, guys, and
they are 100%.
I mean,
they're stacked all across the board.
Wow.
I think people underestimate how stacked the Chiefs are, though. Like the Chiefs, like it's the Gruden with the Broncos. Like, name 3 players on the Broncos defense. It's like you go past Chris Jones and McDuffie. Like, who do they really have that's a big name? But they have these guys, Karlaftis. They have Watson. Yeah, they have a lot of guys. Bolton. They can get after the quarterback. They can
Karlaftis, come on, bro. You're coming to
great. Karlaftis has been an animal. Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
Comparing them to the other fucking studs that Philly has, like, that doesn't match.
Okay, how many who do you think's Philly's leading sack man?
I don't give a shit about the number of sacks, but I'm just saying I feel like Philly has more dogs on that defense than Casey does. Aside from Chris Jones. That's just me. I feel like it's more of a unit. They don't have the star power really to match.
I just think it comes down to the quarterbacks and the coach always, and it's just such a landslide advantage when everything else seems to be about even for me, except maybe the offensive personnel.
The thing is, though, like, think about this, guys. The Commanders kicked the shit out of the Lions on the road. And let's be frank, they looked like a peewee football team today. Match up against the Eagles. The Eagles
beat themselves a lot, though.
But the Eagles dominated on every facet. Like, they looked like a different team. Like, you could kind of tell right away that it was going to have to be like a Jaden Miracle game where he's kind of doing everything by himself for them to be in the game at the end of it. The O-line was getting their ass kicked. The D-line was getting their ass kicked. The wide receivers really couldn't get open on that secondary. They were getting stuffed in the run game. So this Eagles team, to beat the shit out of a Commanders team like that, who honestly has been pretty impressive, beat a couple great teams in the playoffs, I think that showed the line makers a lot, I think. And that's what influenced the line.
But it's the same point I was making earlier where the 2 games before still happened. The Eagles didn't look this dominant against the Packers. They didn't look this dominant against the Rams. Like, they've benefited a lot from these other teams beating themselves, and you're going to play a Chiefs team that's not going to beat themselves.
That's what I was saying. Is like those fumbles, those dumb mistakes, that bad play calling. You're not going to get that in 2 Sundays from now. You're just not going to get that. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to force you to beat themselves, or they're just going to stalemate you, stop you in the red zone while they score. I just think it's going to be more of a chess game. I love the under. I love the under in that game.
Ooh.
Love it, love it. That's not going to be one of those games where the Chiefs have to get to 30. They're going to need to get to 24 to win. I really think it. The Eagles' offense struggled against the Packers. They struggled against the Rams. They struggled in the regular season a bit, like when they played a good defense. You saw it against Baltimore. Against the Bengals, they were kind of struggling to move the ball against that terrible defense until the Bengals started turning the ball over. Then they put up 37. What did we say when we're talking about that game? Philly with a 10-point lead is a nightmare. Nightmare. They're just going to snowball you. They're going to roll over you. They're not going to get out on the lead against the Chiefs. It's going to be close. It's going to be who doesn't make the mistakes and who makes the big plays. I just love the Chiefs to do it in every spot, in every facet.
You haven't seen the Chiefs light up a good defense all year. Like I'm going to use the 30-point conversation again because, like we said, I thought this Bills defense looked really bad today. I mean, they've been questionable all year. I think they had a couple of good games the past couple of weeks. They kept Lamar in check, but I don't know. This Philly defense is a different monster. I honestly think that this is a juggernaut of a unit. And then that offense.
I think these are the 2 best defenses, though. I think these 2 best defenses in the NFL.
But this is funny because this almost feels like the same exact game that happened 2 years ago between them and the Super Bowl. Like when I was looking at that game, I said Philly has everything except for the quarterback and the coach. And what do we see? They were down 10, I think, at halftime, but then Mahomes just takes over the game. But that Chiefs offense was a lot more explosive than this one. You got to admit that at least.
Defense was way worse. The defense was way worse. That was no McDuffie, no Karlaftis.
Was the offense more explosive than the one 2 years ago? Like, I mean, you have Worthy now, you have Hollywood. Like,
this has been the worst Chiefs offense, I think, during the entire KC run.
Last year's was worse.
Statistically.
Last year's might have been worse.
It has been.
Like Hopkins is their wide receiver 4. Like they got guys. They got guys who could go in, make plays, and catch the ball. They got Worthy. They got Hollywood. I mean, Rasheed's not there, but you still got Juju. Whatever you want to say about Juju, you got who am I missing? Hollywood, Hopkins. Yeah, you have enough guys who can catch the ball. Playoff Kelsey. Like I said, he's not going to do it for 3 games, but I think he can do it for 2. He took today off. He'll be ready to go. That's like, I promise you, next Sunday or 2 Sundays from now, that is a prime Travis Kelsey 90, 100-yard game. 2 touchdowns, a touchdown. Like, he'll carry the load. He will carry the boats. He'll carry the logs.
You know what's going to be the scariest thing for that game, though? If you're a Chiefs fan rolling around Bourbon Street on Saturday night, you got to watch out for these Philly fucking monsters. They're going to be – these Eagles fans are going to be so fucked up on Bourbon Street that entire weekend. It's going to be crazy. I don't know how New Orleans is going to be able to handle the entire mass of Philly coming into that city. I really don't.
That's why the Bills lost. The NFL had to make sure that New Orleans wasn't faced with the issue of Buffalo and Philly fans being in the same city partying. Like Kansas City isn't quite like Buffalo in that regard. So you kind of had to balance it out a little bit.
Oh, man. That's going to be crazy. I mean,
Chase,
there's
you're
still
lucky
2 weeks.
You're lucky that the Chiefs fans are more hostile or less hostile than the Philly fans. I'm getting lit up on TikTok right now for picking the Commanders. Meanwhile, no one's batting an eye at you picking the Bills over the Chiefs. It's ridiculous.
No, the Eagles fans are a different nature, man. I mean, I don't think there's anything like them in sports. Like I said, at the old Veterans Stadium, they literally had a prison underneath the stadium because 300 guys were getting thrown in. They had their own court there so they could process people. So Philly's a different animal. The fans are going to be going crazy. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl. That line is begging you to take the Chiefs. You guys got to admit that, though.
I agree. That I do agree with. I'm still shocked that it's not Chiefs by more than the Super Bowl.
I feel like the Chiefs out-scheme Vegas, though. Like this was the same line for this weekend, and it didn't matter. Like the Chiefs just win. The Chiefs just win these games. Last year it was Chiefs plus 1.5, right?
I know.
Against the Ravens. It doesn't matter.
Well, the Chiefs were underdogs in the Super Bowl to the 49ers, but I think it was because the 49ers had so many futures that they had to shift the line. All the books had to shift the line because there was so much money if the Niners won that they had to make the odds less in the Super Bowl. So they were underdogs there, but yeah, you're right, Sage. I mean, regardless of the line, they just find a way to win no matter what. So
they've schemed Vegas. That's why I love it. Like I swear, like they're just free money. Just bet them in the playoffs. I promise you, you'll make your money back.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Anything else that we have here? Any other little points that we want to bring up? Maxie, did that make you feel a little bit better, my man? I know. I mean, like I said, last year when the Niners lost Super Bowl, I drove all the way down the Pacific Coast Highway, chain smoking cigarettes and listening to Tom Petty. That was the only way I could get past it. So I don't know. Is this making you feel a little bit better, man? That was
like Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, exactly. That was a tough one. Max. I don't know. I feel like you're feeling good now, but when you go to bed tonight, when you wake up in the morning, when you're clocking in for work tomorrow, you're gonna be like, "Fucking goddamn it, man! That shit sucked."
It happened again.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Max, how do you feel?
I have Josh Allen in my life. It didn't work out this year once again, but I'll get to watch him again next season, and I can look forward to that.
Yeah, Sage, would you switch positions with Buffalo Bills fans? Should 49ers fans switch positions right now?
No, I do not want to be in the same conference as Rams. I do not want to be in the AFC.
Who's had it worse? Losing Mahomes 4 times or us losing 2 Super Bowls? Brock Purdy getting injured on the first play in the NFC Championship game, the Jaguasi Tart play. Who do you think's had it worse, honestly? Bills fans or Rams fans?
I think the most tortured fan base is currently in the NFL in terms of like high profile heartbreak. The Niners are one with a bullet.
Yeah, I think you still gotta give the nod to us.
I was gonna say the Saints, but they got one recently. But the Saints have had some.
Fuck the Saints. No,
yeah.
It's Niners Bills 1-2.
Yeah, clearly 1-2.
But the Bills haven't lost a Super Bowl. Like they haven't gone to that board.
Yeah, but they have 4 losses against the fucking boogeyman. That's like if you're looking back at the Peyton era and saying like, oh, like he's not the most cursed because he's going against Tom. Like, yeah, it's Bills have it pretty brutal. I don't know. It's
like what Bills do. I mean, who's 3? Packers. I feel like the Packers.
Packers are probably close, but they got one. Like, would you say Steelers? Almost. They're like just stuck in purgatory. Like that has to be shitty. As a Steelers fan, this had to have been like the worst 6 years because you've been 9-8 every year. You knew right when it got kicked off in the wildcard game that you were not going to win that game. You had no shot winning the Super Bowl, but everybody loves Mike Tomlin. Everybody sucks him off in the media that it's never going to change. So I don't know. Steelers maybe 3 because of just like
Vikings.
I was going to say Vikings.
Tough.
Vikings are like just because of one standalone game, the Falcons, like 28-3 has just done so much damage to that franchise that it's going to be hard to reverse that.
I mean, Jets.
I don't count them. They don't have high profile losses.
Okay, how about this? Lions, because you had 10 years of being shit. You had one of the biggest collapses in NFC Championship game history when you kind of should have won the Super Bowl. You go 15-1. Your entire defense gets decimated like I've never seen a unit in the NFL get decimated. And you lose as the 1 seed in the playoff opener to the fucking Commanders. That's pretty tough. I think that's a good 3.
I think that's a good 3. And on top of it, it's the guy that you traded away, who was your franchise guy, won a Super Bowl in his first year on a defense.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
So, like, they're still losing that trade at this moment.
That's like you and your girlfriend breaking up with each other and she starts fucking an NBA guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she hit it big and, like, you're still just doing the same stuff.
Very relatable.
You guys can't relate to that at all?
He tried to make it more relatable and somehow made it way less.
You know when you have a shawty and then you break up with her and then she starts dating the dude.
That's like when you're dating a like some badass bitch. And
she starts dating a rapper who hits top 10. And she's like, fuck. No, but okay. All right, guys. I think we should end the stream there. What do you think?
I think so too. Subscribe. The TikTok's taking off. Everyone, the TikTok's taking off. Follow us. Westbound Down Podcast 1D. Follow us there on TikTok. We'll be there.
Yeah, so follow us on TikTok, Twitter, listen to us, Spotify, Apple Music, subscribe. Hey, if you guys like the stuff that we're putting out, subscribe, like, comment on YouTube. We need all that shit. Maxie, I want to thank you, man. You've been the #1 fan for Westbound and Down this entire year. We fucking love you. We'll die for you. Obviously, I'm sorry that your Bills lost today. I don't think that Sage is very sorry. He made some money off of it, so I think he's feeling good, but love you, man. And we're Niners fans. We get it, man. So you just got to, take your beating, strap back up for next year, get ready to go. That's all.
Yeah, you guys keep up the good work. I appreciate you guys letting me come on and talk through the emotions. But yeah, still got one more football game this season, and then it's into hibernation. So
crazy how fast it went.
Soak it in.
Soak it in. Sager, when are we going to see these guys next? I mean, we got Warriors basketball who's giving us nothing to fucking talk about. We got, Giants baseball. I mean, the Dodgers look like they're going to run a train on the entire MLB again. They're getting every Japanese phenom in there. So, and then we have a 2-week break until the Super Bowl. I mean, what are we going to do? Pro Bowl topics?
Yeah,
Are we going to do Grant Cohn level
dodgeball
topics here?
Yeah,
Kelsey
dodgeball
Plum
topics.
just got traded. I feel like that probably deserves like a segment, at least like a 5-minute short. Like,
We'll give it something.
Are you a Kelsey Plum fan, Max? You like her game or what?
I'm familiar
All
with
right,
her
this is
game.
where we end it. This is where we end it.
But all right, we'll figure it out when we're going to be coming to you guys next. Check us out on Twitter to find out when we're going to be releasing a new episode. So stay in tune for that. But for today's stream, guys, that's going to be all. We'll talk to you guys later.